Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with the whole Michael and Jocelyn scene because here's the thing about this scene. It is very glaringly obvious just how self-centered Jocelyn is, just how stupid and naive Jocelyn is. And don't get me wrong, Michael is also stupid in this scene, but when Jocelyn is there trying to ream Michael out for changing his mind about turning Sonny in, and she's there talking about, you know, he was supposed to go to jail, and Dex was there look over his shoulders and everything like that. And I'm just like, I don't understand on what planet does she actually think that if Sonny just goes to jail, out of all the time, all the employees that work for him, that somehow that he's not going to get revenge on Dex. She's just going to sit there and live out her dream little fantasy for the rest of her life. I'm like, one, you pretty much lived in a mob for the most part. Two, have you never seen a mob movie? So I don't understand how any of this makes any sense whatsoever. Talking about poor Dex this and poor Dex that, which by the way, even her and Dex, I'm just like, Dex worked for Michael, right? And it's not like Michael asked Dex to sit there and get information on Joe Smo or somebody who isn't, like his father figure or anything like that. At what point in time did Dex maybe not sit there and consider that he may change his mind? So I don't even understand that. I don't get that. And then Michael sits there and tells Jocelyn that I told Willow, and Willow's like, I can't go through it because it's going to fracture the family. Saying that, just giving little examples as far as like, for the most part, people can't be in the same room without, giving 30 stares, like Christina and Joss. And what is it going to sit there and do to Donna and Avery? All sorts of things that are actually true. But the problem with Joss is that she's very self-centered. She wants what she wants, and the hell with the family at this point. And I don't understand, like, granted, Michael has been a huge idiot for a very long time, and it took a dying Willow to sit there and try to convince Michael just how much of an ass-dying planet this was. But now that Michael's there telling her this, it's in one ear and out the other because that's just how Joss is. So Joss just walks off and she gets all upset and then she just leaves and I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. Um Sasha and Colleen. I don't understand how they actually had to sit there and have kind of a BS talk in the beginning. For the most part, before Sasha was like, listen, I want to thank you for what you did. And Sasha even admits that, given what Cody did for her, I don't see him sit there stealing that jewelry. But I don't see Gladys sit there setting you up. Sasha, you're not stupid. So I don't understand why they're sit there writing her in this level of dumbness. On top of the fact that she sold her own son out. She sold her son's son out, Dev at the time. I know that wasn't like a real thing, but still sold him out to Cyrus and What makes you think that she's not capable of doing that? Yeah, she was there for Gladys during her dark and worst time and everything like that. But here's the thing. They can people in your life could be good to you, but can be an entire scumbag to everyone else around them. And given Gladys's track record, her history, you really are going to be that naive to sit there and think that there's not a possibility that she could have turned him in? And she's not there talking about, we could still, we could be friends. I would like to be friends again. I'm like, how on earth is he going to be friends with you when your mother-in-law is literally trying to frame him for a crime that I don't understand like her even sitting there saying that thanking you is one thing, but to be like, oh, we could just go back to being friends, like, yeah, that's really gonna work out. I don't get that. Meanwhile, you got Gladys that they're trying to sell Sunny out by talking. And here's the thing: Selena was like, "All right, so do you got my money?" And Gladys like, "No, I got something better. I got information." Okay, so what's the information? Well, one of his employees got a big wad of cash, and it must have been for something like really crazy. Selena's like, "I don't really care how Sunny pays his employees." But just to be somewhat nice, she's like, all right, I'll knock off a few bucks. But you still owe me like about like 8K. And of course, Gladys is with the whole song and dance, the whole, sob story about how, oh, I can't sit there and get that much money from her without, drawing suspicious. And, I may not even be able to do the guardianship anymore. And just this whole, violin. I'm sitting there thinking, like, where's my damn violin at? So Selena's like, listen, here's what I'm going to do. One, you're going to sit there and pay me 20% extra. Two, I'm going to go away. When I come back, it'd be a really good idea that you have my money. Now, it turns out that when the bodyguard left, because the bodyguard was with her there, for intimidation. And when they walked away, the bodyguard was like, yo, you're being awful generous. But no, Selena was like, listen, either she's going to have the money or she's not. And she's probably going to sit there and do something stupid and drastic like run away or whatever. Sunny's going to sit there and owe me a favor as far as covering her debt. And in all reality, that just made total sense because I'm like, at this point, Selena is just so sick and tired of Sunny, the way he talks to her, the level of disrespect. So she's planning on setting Sunny up. But honestly, to tell you the truth, I was like, come on, bro. Really? That's the best you have? Now, let's get into the whole Tracy and Chase scene because I was somewhat conflicted by this scene. Okay? I love the idea that Tracy's there for her granddaughter, right? Smith is saying that, listen, you're either going to accept this girl for who she is or you're going to cut her loose and just go your separate ways. Because when I look at Chase and, this whole thing with Brooklyn and him being upset all the time, like, oh, I can't believe you did this. And why would you sit there and do that? It's like, oh, you knew exactly who you're getting yourself into when you met her. Hell, you arrested her twice. So let's not sit there and try to act like her shenanigans is something new and offbeat or whatever. It's like this is the you know what I'm saying. I 100% agree with that to some extent. Like you're either going to accept her for her crazy messiness or you need to sit there and let her go. Now, where things turned kind of left was this whole you need to sit there and worship her. You need to sit there and do this. You need to do that. Because I'm like, here's the thing, Tracy. It's not like Brooklyn wasn't doing things that would get Chase or any man in that situation upset with her. She's not perfect, and the things that she's done has just been stupid and asinine. And any man would probably be like, you know what, I'm good, and just leave. So it got so bad, like their argument got so heated that you overheard it when Finn and Gregory were sitting there talking because Gregory's like, let's go to Disneyland, and you know Finn is like, yeah, I can't, like I'm working, Violet's in school, Chase just got back to his job, we can't just, well, I'm sorry, next week. Are you nuts? um And of course, Gregory started dropping little hints like, oh, I'm going to sit there and be with you as long as I can, and that and the third, which was also kind of dark and kind of sad at the same time. But, at some point when Finn went to answer the phone and Gregory started hearing the conversation, he came over there, he was like, whoa, 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 Trace, you need to sit there and slow that down a little bit. And started defending Chase, calling her a snob, standing up for his son. But once again, after everything was done, although Chance. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when we actually watch four shows. Um, When Chase, when Chase was like, "Listen, I didn't need your assist, but I thank you anyway." But it's not like you to sit there and go, "This, you weren't just defending me. You were damn near about to go scorch earth. Like, you good." Once again, um, Gregory drops some hints that causes for concern. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love that Tracy was there for his daughter. I mean, for her granddaughter, but like after a while, I was like, boo. Because see, here's my whole thing. My patience level is not good. And if I was Chase right there when I saw the way she was acting, I would be like, you know what? F you, F your granddaughter, F both of y'all. I have looks, I have a job. Why am I sitting there dealing with you two and all this messiness? And I just would have skipped right on away. But hell, even Finn was like, "Yo, listen, I understand." Because Finn and Tracy, they're good friends or whatever. And Finn was like, "Yo, you don't know the whole story. Why don't you let them figure it out?" But of course, Tracy's gonna be Tracy and do what Tracy does, which is kind of a mixed bubble. This whole conversation with Carly and Drew is so idiotic. It's so stupid because one, they agree that they won't sit there and they won't sit there and turn on each other. They're like, all right, cool, let's go after Ned. Which again, they're doing all this plotting to try to get at Ned, sit there and try to find ways to blackmail Ned, because they realize that they can't sit there and get him to retract the statement. So like, well, Ned has contacts. So if we blackmail somebody that's close to him, you know, he'll sit there and back off. They go through the list, Xing people off. Like, you know what? Tracy. Because, Tracy came there earlier to sit there and be her usual snarky self, which is like, okay, I get it. You're Tracy. It's your thing. It's a little kind of annoying now, but whatever. And they were like, you know what? Let's go out to Tracy. Let's find something on Tracy. And we'll use it to sit there and squeeze Ned. Which, again, is just stupid. Um, just for so many reasons. Because at some point, I just don't understand. You have two grown ass adults that can't sit there and figure out, well, what if there's a possibility that it's not that? That we're getting all our secondhand information off of Michael. That's not to say that Michael is not a trustworthy person or anything like that, but like, Michael isn't always right. And the fact that they are hinging this whole plan of freedom on Michael's word is just stupid. Which, by the way, in all reality, I don't even feel that bad for Carly and Drew, specifically Carly, because I'm like, you did this to yourself. She's all like, well, I'm gonna sit there and miss my kids, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, well, they do visitings. They do have days for visiting. And let's be honest, bro, you did this to yourself. So like, I'm not even gonna sit there and try to look for my small violin because this is on you. Now, Nina and Sunny. So after Nina was sitting there telling Sunny that I can't do this, I can't sit there and give Willow what she wants as far as making peace with Carly, I'm like, you know what? I don't blame you. I really don't. Not because of that interaction scene that she had with Carly, but I'm like, bro, if you're gonna sit there and tell Nina that, then you need to sit there and hold the same standards for Carly. You've been around Carly long enough to sit there and know that Carly doesn't just sit there. She starts stuff as well. So I'm like, yo, listen, if I was Nina, not only would I have told Willow that I couldn't do it, but that I'm not doing it unless you get Carly in the same room and you do some sort of pinky swear with us that we won't do it. Otherwise, the deal is off. Now, when she finds out about what Michael was sitting there, because Sonny's sitting there talking about how he's in a better relationship with Michael, and now Nina's like, when Michael had the same conditions as Carly, Nina took that as in their silence is like, their not, how do I sit there and say it? So they're not going to sit there and help, right? They're not going to sit there and advocate for her, but they're not going to sit there and stand in her way. And in a lot of ways, that's basically sit there like silently protesting against her, or something along those lines. Like their silence is like implicit for their hatred towards her, and maybe that's somehow feeding into Willow as far as not giving her a chance. But to be fair, you kind of have years of reasons for this girl to not sit there and give you a chance, so that's whatever. Um, but then Nina does something that it just felt kind of off to some extent. When Sonny was talking about how Michael wanted peace, like an olive branch or whatever, Nina was like, you know, um, don't trust what he's saying. He may sit there and go, he may sit there and change his mind or whatever, change the deal. Like, trying to get him in some sort of way to not trust, not to trust his son, not to trust Michael. Like, he may renege on his deal or something. Just felt kind of off. Like his offer was somewhat disingenuous, which, to be fair, now I'm starting to think about it, kind of was. Like, he was not going to sit there and give him a chance if it wasn't for um, Willow. But at the same time, let Sonny decide that for himself. If something's awry and he feels like he's being disingenuous, let Sonny make that up. He doesn't need you to sit there and get in his ear, basically Smithy trying to get you to distrust his own son. Towards the end, Sonny says something that's just so left field to try to pacify Nina because Nina's like, listen, I'm going to be on the outs with your family. That's just how it's going to be. Birthdays, weddings, and things of that nature. Even Dante said the same thing, like, the family is never going to accept her and she's going to actually have to sit there and deal with that, or I don't see it working out between you two. Sonny was like, you want to get married? I'm like, wait, what? Let me get this straight. You want to sit there and get married to this woman because she feels like you're going to be on the outs with your family if, it's always going to be this division with your family and her. So your solution is to solve her worries by marrying her? What? Like, okay, bro. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's about it. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. But like usual, if I did forget something, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Um, we'll sit there and talk about that. We'll talk about GH. I mean, we'll talk about GH. We'll talk about days. We'll talk about BNB. We'll talk about Y&R. We're gonna sit there and go through all of that. So I hope I get to sit there and see you tonight. And with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Also, before I go, no, never mind. I'll make a post about it. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.